It's Olympics time at the moment. That's the Winter Olympics. And I have somebody with me today who's not an athlete, but is an athlete of the mind when it comes to Olympics. And that is Sally Murray-White. Sally has represented Australia in the Bridge Olympics, and I thought it would be an ideal opportunity to speak about the Bridge Olympics at the time of the Winter Olympics. Welcome, Sally.
Thank you, Prudence. It's lovely to be here.
Now, I know that you're a member of the Bayside Bridge Club, and the Bayside Bridge Club is a valued sponsor of GDR. I'd like to hear your story on representing Australia at the Bridge Olympics. But before we arrive at the Olympics level, let's start at the beginning.
Well, I first started playing bridge when I was very young in England, where it was an incredibly popular game, of course. And then I came to Australia and did other things. I was a painter. But then my life changed as I learnt to play bridge properly. And there was a club opened up in Hampton, and which I got very involved with and eventually learned to direct and find the absolute joys of this incredible game.
So when you moved from the UK to Australia, was it joining the Bridge Club here that sparked your interest and transformed you from kitchen bridge to club bridge?
Definitely. Went along on a Monday night thinking I knew how to play bridge, and a guy stood up by a whiteboard and said, all this stuff, and I didn't understand a word of what he was talking about, even though I'd been playing bridge for an awful long time. And I suddenly realised there was a hell of a lot more to this game than I had ever realised, and that it would take me to places that I had also never realised I would attain.
So at the time of playing club bridge, did you have an inkling you wanted to compete at a higher level? In other words, did you have a drive and ambition? And more importantly, did you know you were good at the game?
I became instantly addicted. It is a completely addictive game. Be aware, anyone who's thinking of learning. I found I was good at it. I also found that I was also a very, very competitive person, and it hurt very much not to win. I also realised that if I'd only studied my exams as a younger person for university, the same way that I studied bridge, the piles of books on my bedside table, studying, reading, playing, just completely addicted to this wonderful mind game, because it is a complete endorphins mind game that just excites your brain.
Did you have a mentor?
You use the people who are good bridge players. You ask them. You play in every competition you can think of, and if you don't know what you're doing, you go and ask somebody who's a much better player, and they help you. They're very generous with their time.
Okay, so let's zoom on up to how you were actually chosen. This was the 2008 Beijing Bridge Olympics. So how were you chosen? How did you get there?
What you do is you have to play. You start off by playing in state events. So there's congresses. They're called bridge congresses, and you can play in them. And when you play in them, and you win master points, the same way as you would be as a chess champion, you win master points, and you get green points at club level, red points at state level, and gold points at national level. So you play hard, you win tournaments, your master points are sent to you, and you go up through the grades. Through winning those national events or getting anywhere in the national events, you win what's called playoff points. And then you are invited at a time in the year to go to Canberra or wherever they're holding it, and you will play against maybe 20, 30 other people. And the first three people over the finishing line, first, second, third, make up the Australian women's team, or the open team, or the senior team, or the youth team. And so you have to win events to be chosen.
So how much of your day, let's say you're heading towards the Olympics, how much of your day, how much time out of 24 hours do you give to bridge?
To bridge, well, a lot. Because you have a non-playing captain, you have a chef de mission, they give you pages and pages of exercises to do, bidding hands and training you, and you tend to play an awful lot of bridge. I play an awful lot of bridge anyway, but you find anyone who plays bridge wants to play bridge. The only place you feel really comfortable and happy is sitting at a bridge table, competing with your brain against somebody else's brain. And that's why bridge players never go anywhere, cruises, holidays. They always want to go as a group with a bridge director and bridge available.
Sally, tell me about the World Mind Games. I've never heard of the World Mind Games. What are the World Mind Games?
They've existed for a long time, and they were called the Olympiad of Bridge in 2000, and they were held in conjunction with the Olympics. You have the Olympics, the Paralympics, and then the 2 weeks after that they hold the World Mind Games or the Olympiad of Bridge. It changed in 2008 when we went to Beijing, and they called it the World Mind Games. And I'm not too sure it's still called the World Mind Games. It's held with concurrent with the Commonwealth Games as well. But it's just like an Olympics. You go and you stay in the Olympic Village, and you go and you play as a team. There's 6 of you, and there's a coach and a captain, and you go in there day after day with screens between you and your partner. When you play top-level bridge, you can't see your partner. There will be a diagonal screen across the table and underneath the table, so you can't communicate at all. There is absolute silence in a room with about 500 people in it. And you have to write everything down if you want to ask a question. And there's a little doorway in the screen, and you push this board which has the hands on it backwards and forwards whilst you make your bids out of a bidding box. So you actually put a card that's got your bids on it down on this little tray, and it goes backwards and forwards. So you can sit there for 2 hours and 45 minutes and never see your partner or hear them.
Were you intimidated, frightened?
Terrified. Absolutely terrified. Very daunting. And some of the times you're on Bridge Base Online, and so you're going out worldwide what you're doing, and there's a guy on a thing that looks like a tennis umpire stand with a computer, and he's typing in everything you're doing and everything you're bidding with comments. Nerve-wracking.
Nerve-wracking. So did you know the partner that you were playing with prior to being part of the team?
Yes, I'd been playing with her for probably 15 or 16 years. You need a very established partnership because you're learning and speaking and playing a language, just like French or Italian. And you need to know your language.
Well, I play bridge, but I'm not a good player because I play for fun and company. I don't play for the result. Yes, it's lovely to have a win every now and again, but I'm not a player who races to see the score at the end of each game. So obviously that's you play for pleasure, but you play to win.
Not necessarily, actually. I mean, I like to win because I play actually more for the scientific feeling about it. Each hand is a challenge. Each hand is a problem to be solved, and each hand is open the gate, walk down the garden path, adventure. It's an adventure.
Now, Sally, I'm going to take you just off the path a little bit, and I want you to tell me very briefly about teaching bridge on cruise ships.
Well, it's tremendous fun. So we only work on sea days, and we have beginners lessons, say at 9:30 in the morning, and anyone can come to those. And then at 11 o'clock-ish, we'll have intermediate advanced people who can play bridge, but who want to improve their bridge. Everybody wishes to improve their bridge. And then in the afternoons, we'll have a little duplicate competition. And we've met a million friends from all over the world, and they all become addicted.
So you have been doing this for roughly how many years now?
I think I did my first cruise. I've been directing since about 1980 as a raw beginner. I'd only been playing having lessons for 3 weeks when I started. The guy gave me a book and said, "Here, do that." Then, so probably since about 1990-ish, I've been taking groups overseas or in Australia to play bridge. And then in probably more the late 90s, early 2000s, we started working on cruise ships, taking groups. But now we basically work on luxury ships, teaching anyone who gets on, which is a lot easier than having to deal with large groups of people.
So Where is your next cruise?
Next cruise leaves from Tahiti on March the 14th, and we go to New Zealand, round the islands for a couple of weeks, and then from New Zealand we go across the bottom of Australia and head up to Bali. And the one we've just done, the Tahiti to Reykjavik one last year from June to September, that was pretty magic. And we taught a lot of people who were on the ship for a couple of months. They went from not having a clue to playing competition really quite well.
Excellent. Sally, thank you so very much for coming into GDR today to tell us about your elevation from Kitchen Bridge in the UK to becoming an Australian representative at the World Mind Games in Beijing. Now, finally, for those who would like to play bridge but think it's too complicated or too difficult, a word of advice.
Just have a go. It's just like golf. Go and hit a ball, come and join us, meet friends. However badly you play, you will still thoroughly enjoy it because it's just fun.
Thank you very, very much indeed, Sally, for coming in. Now, before you leave, a song. I would like you to tell me a song that you have chosen and the reason why.
Well, I'm not very good at picking out songs, but I thought of Enjoy Yourself, because it's later than you think, might be a good idea. It's also the way I've lived. For heaven's sake, just get out there, do things and enjoy yourself.
Sally, thank you very much indeed.
A pleasure.